President Trump from office. Backlash from last week's Capitol assault knocks out the online forum Parler, and another round of small business loans reopens.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
House Democrats begin attempts to remove President Trump from office today. This is KOAM News at Noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, Congress will first try to pass a resolution urging Vice President Mike Pence to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove the president. This morning, House Republicans blocked the unanimous consent resolution. The full House will vote tomorrow. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says if the vice president does not respond within 24 hours, Democrats will move forward with articles of impeachment, accusing the president of inciting an insurrection. But with the inauguration 9 days away, House Democrats may instead delay sending the articles to the Senate for a trial. Over the weekend, several hundred protesters gathered in St. Louis with a single demand: the resignation of Senator Josh Hawley. Their message to the Missouri senator comes in wake of last week's riots at the Capitol and his efforts to object to the electoral votes of President-elect Joe Biden. Senator Hawley has not responded to requests for comment on the calls for his resignation, but he did say he would, quote, never apologize for giving voice to millions of Missourians and Americans who have concerns about the integrity of our elections. Well, we're starting off the work week on a little bit of a chilly note, but things are about to warm up. Michael Hayslip joins us with the first look at the forecast.
Not only warming up, but remember how overcast it was this morning? We were talking about all this cloud. Take a look at the Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin right now. Thank you, high pressure system. We knew you'd do your job. Just sun hasn't taken much of an effect as of yet. We sit at 36 degrees right now. We are going to talk about the old barometer. The reason it's falling really couldn't have gone any higher than what we had this morning. Humidity falling down to 67%. And as Tanya alluded to, it is a little bit chilly with those swirling winds that we have. Everything from 34s and 30s in southwest Missouri to 38s out in southeast Kansas. Now, the Skywatch Storm Tracker just about dispatched with our cloud cover. I apologize to you on the eastern edge of our highlighted counties who are still under those overcast skies. But as we push through the afternoon hours and into the night, it will be clear as can be. Now, overnight, still going to fall down below freezing, but we are headed toward a warming trend. We're going to see 50s on the board by tomorrow. Pretty much be able to stay away from the freezing mark during our overnight hours and even top out in the mid-50s by the middle of the week. Coming up here in just a little bit, Tanya, we're going to talk about winter storm that passed to the southeast of us and the amount of snow that it dropped in Arkansas. I mean, we were like that close to it. Also, too, big low coming off the Pacific Northwest. That plays a role in that 7-day forecast when we begin to talk about Thursday through Saturday.
All right, we'll get to that in a minute. Thanks, Michael. Well, the backlash from the assault on the Capitol has knocked out an online forum used to spread far-right extremist viewpoints. Amazon suspended Parler from its web hosting service overnight, saying violent content on the site violated its terms of service. Apple and Google had already moved to cut off Parler, and the company's CEO says the site may be dark indefinitely. Anna Werner looks at some of the messages that got Parler in trouble.
Before, during, and even after the violent attack on the Capitol, the social media site Parler was a megaphone for Trump supporters. We need to start systematically assassinating liberal leaders, read one post. In another, now deleted message posted the day after the attack, pro-Trump lawyer Lynn Wood called for Vice President Pence's execution, writing, "Get the firing squads ready. Pence goes first." Kevin Roos is a tech columnist for the New York Times.
These are things that mainstream social networks have policies against. And so if you got kicked off Twitter for saying them, a lot of the time your next step was to make a Parler account and just move your followers over there.
Over the weekend, Amazon became the latest tech giant to notify Parler it was suspending its account. Asked for comment, Amazon directed us to this email obtained by BuzzFeed News. In it, an Amazon Web Services safety team told Parler, "Recently, we've seen a steady increase in violent content on your website, all of which violates our terms."
Do you think this is the end of Parler?
I think losing your App Store privileges and losing your web host is about as close to a kiss of death as you can get in the world of apps.
In a phone interview with Fox News, Parler CEO John Mates defended the platform and said Amazon's move could put the company out of business.
It's obvious collusion, and they're doing it, to stifle free speech and competition in the marketplace. And this could happen to literally anybody.
Amazon's decision comes after both Apple and Google banned Parler from their app stores. Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram have also suspended President Trump's accounts, citing the risk of further incitement of violence. The moves prompted criticism from Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who tweeted, "Silencing speech is dangerous. It's un-American." But Ruth says
it's not like these people just got banned from these platforms because they, said something mean or called someone a name. I mean, there was bloodshed. This is real violence, and there may be more to come.
Late last night, Parler's CEO said the site will likely be offline longer than anticipated because other vendors have also dropped them in the wake of those companies' actions. Anna Werner, CBS News, San Francisco.
A pro-Trump demonstration is expected to be held at Twitter's headquarters in San Francisco today. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, the government rolls out the third installment of its small business loan program, What You Need to Know. And later, we're making an Amish country casserole in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. The U.S. government rolls out the third installment of its small business loan program today with new safeguards included. This comes after fraudsters botched the rollout last year. Instead of automatic approval, applications will be initially reviewed, which might slow the process. But officials say the $284 billion allotted will meet incoming demand and not run out. The Pittsburgh Area Chamber of Commerce says that's good news for small businesses here in the 4 states. But as KOAM's Kate Kelly reports, the businesses who apply need to be prepared for a few changes.
There's no doubt that the pandemic has hit small businesses hard. Even with community support, this Pittsburgh boutique owner admits it's been a challenge in the retail and service industry.
I feel like we've weathered pretty well, but it hasn't been without its struggles. During the lockdown, it became important for us to pivot, go online, use social media selling.
Adaptation and federal funding have helped businesses like Audacious Boutique stay afloat. And Selmy employs 4 part-time workers and 1 full-time employee. She's looking into this next round of paycheck protection to keep it that way.
The IDL and then the PPP rounds have been really helpful in making sure that I can keep that full-time person employed.
In its first wave, the program supported about 2,000 jobs in Pittsburgh alone, nearly $20 million. The Pittsburgh Area Chamber of Commerce expects more businesses to take part in this second round.
Even some businesses that maybe weren't struggling quite as much when this was around last year are now, and so it couldn't come at a better time and will really help a lot of our businesses get through the time frame until the vaccine is more readily available and maybe things start to return to normal a little bit.
There are some changes to the program this year. Loans are being capped at $2 million instead of $10 million, and the maximum number of employees has been reduced down from 500 to 300 to focus on helping smaller businesses. The Chamber says it pays to be organized.
We encourage everybody to go ahead and get with your tax professional, get with your lending institution, because you do need to have your tax returns, you need to have payroll reports, you need to have rent information, utility information, because all that will be necessary to apply for paycheck protection.
There are a lot of resources out there that people can tap into. It's just a matter of seeking them out and asking for help, and everybody's wanting to help and wants to get you the information that you need.
In Pittsburgh, Kate Kelly, KOAM News.
Well, the program application opens this week. The Pittsburgh Area Chamber of Commerce advises business owners to check for updates regarding paycheck protection on the Small Business Association website. Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
Today, we're cooking up an Amish home-style meal the easy way. Stick around. I'll show you how it's done.
But first, Michael Hayslip returns with your complete forecast.
Just doing a little historical look back from 1 year ago. As a matter of fact, it was January 10th and 11th of last year where not only did we have a winter storm that spawned some tornadoes, but actually there were some places that saw 1 inch to 2 inches of snow. Once again, that was just 1 year ago today. And now we look at the monthly and yearly precipitation, which are obviously going to be the same, but it makes sense that last year, about 0.3 of an inch more than what we picked up so far. But remember, March was our record setter for last year. Now, with all that being said, after I went back and I looked at that historical data, I was like, oh my goodness, we'll just take this January 11th for what it is, because it is absolutely beautiful outside. Even those places on the eastern edge of southwest Missouri that are still absorbing that cloud cover, no precipitation, haven't had anything to worry about. So what happened to the overcast skies that we had this morning? Well, we had nice high pressure all west of the Mississippi. We've got a definitive line of it stretching really from south central Texas all the way up to St. Louis, and another one on the backside of it. Well, here's what's happening. That high pressure forcing a good storm system that not only involves snow but also thunderstorm activity for the Gulf states. As a matter of fact, we just skirted around this. They had not a whole lot, just a dusting. Some places got about as much as an inch. You know, that's the Ouachita Mountains up there, so they're going to get a little more snow. But you can tell how close it really got to our highlighted counties. But another thing that this low pressure system did, it pulled down all this cold Canadian air, and it just pulled it right through us. And so that's why our temperature is going to be a little bit off than what we'd anticipate for the middle of January. 36 in CJ, 37 in Indy, 35 right now in Nevada. And you'll notice too that our temperatures are going to be a little bit different. Actually, I don't want to say warmer, but perhaps a degree or two better out to the west and north, if you will, because that wind comes in from the south right here, and then we take the clockwise motion and drop it in from the north when we get to our eastern portion of southwest Missouri, where our cloud cover still remains. Nice thing for everybody involved in this storm system, as it approaches the mid-Atlantic, it's breaking up. It's pretty much done with its severity, despite the fact that they had winter storm warnings this morning. This thing's not going to amount to a whole lot. So now what we're going to do here in the 4 states, we're actually going to pay attention to what's all the way up in the Pacific Northwest. Now, before we get there, we're going to get a warming trend on our hands. I know today's going to be a little bit chilly, but like I said, just a gorgeous afternoon with temperatures in the low 40s, whole lot of sunshine overnight. We are back below freezing, but the wind's going to shift and come in from the southwest. And what that's going to do is provide us with temperatures in the 50s on Tuesday, and then even the mid-50s by the time we get to Wednesday. So, like I said, for the next 3 days, really no worries. Let's talk about that low pressure working in off the Pacific Northwest. So there it is right there. It's very similar in nature to what we saw last week. This thing stays organized once it gets over the Rockies, sweeps down in, but the nice thing is we don't have a chance to transition over into freezing temperatures, so we should be able to keep it as rain for Thursday night into Friday. Now after that, some cold temperatures on the back side of it, and so our next round of precipitation that presents itself Saturday evening / night into Sunday morning, Tanya, that's the next bout that could spit a little snow. But as I went back and I looked at the storm reports from a year ago today, you know, time's been weird this year. Whether you're in the time bubble, whether you call it COVID time, call it what you want. It was amazing to go back 1 year ago and look at the massive storm reports that we have. Let's count ourselves lucky that we get plenty of sunshine and chilly temperatures this afternoon.
All right, that's for sure. All right, thanks, Michael. We take this time to honor today's 4-state hero, Sergeant Mike Torsha in the U.S. Air Force. The Columbus, Kansas native joined the 315th Troop Carrier Squadron in 1943. He fought throughout Europe until 1945. To Sergeant Mike Torsha, we thank you, our 4-state hero. The Amish are known for many home-style dishes, and today's recipe is no exception. It's a country casserole that has been passed down from generation to generation. Howard shows us how to make it in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
When it comes to Amish cooking, there's no question that the Amish know what they're doing in the kitchen. Whether it's making shoe fly pie or scrapple, Dutch cabbage rolls or slippery pot pie, Amish cooking means hearty, wholesome, and made the old-fashioned way. Today, we're making an Amish-inspired casserole, except we're using a few off-the-shelf shortcuts that will make it weeknight easy. We start by browning a good amount of ground beef, along with a chopped onion and a bit of minced garlic. While that finishes up, we drain some cooked egg noodles and set them aside. Now that our beef is done, we add it to the same pot we cooked our pasta in. along with our drained noodles. To give this dish its creaminess, we toss in cream of mushroom soup, some milk, a splash of Worcestershire sauce, tomato soup, and a few spices. After it's all mixed, we'll spoon it into a baking dish and into the oven it goes until it's heated through and the top is all crispy. There you have it, a dish that's simple to make, full of flavor, and is sure to bring your family around the table. To get the recipe for our Amish country casserole, all you have to do is visit our website. I'm Howard of the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found an Amish-inspired way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. We'll be right back.
They're telling Dow Quick that his Kansas City Chiefs are going to be absolutely fine as long as they don't give up 28 points in the first quarter. Never mind 14 points in the first 2 minutes as we anticipate the Cleveland Browns visiting Arrowhead Stadium on Sunday. Now, let's talk about what we've got here on Monday. We got 6 days to go before we continue the NFL playoffs. Skywatch Storm Tracker with a little cloud cover still hanging on to the eastern portion of southwest Missouri, but don't worry, we're going to clear that out. And like I said, the mess that was through central Arkansas this morning, it's just about gone as well. But if you have a night side trip that's got to take you down here, please know you are going to run into a little wintry weather. They still got the dusting. We got really lucky as far as it's skirting around our highlighted counties. We actually had a very nice night. Now remember, while this breaks up, this is going to be the next system that we're going to pay attention to for the next couple of days. But you let us take care of that in the Skywatch Weather Center. You sit back and enjoy 3 beautiful mid-January days. Yeah, today's going to be a little bit chilly, but I tell you what, by the time we get into the middle of the week, we're talking about temperatures that are going to be up into the mid-50s. Absolutely delightful for this time of year. As a matter of fact, this afternoon's just absolutely fine as well. But how about the warming trend that puts us to 50 and 56 there on Wednesday? Now, remember, Thursday night, that's when that Pacific Northwest system begins to work its way in, followed by a cold front. And so then we're back down to winter weather as we head into the weekend. So get outside and enjoy some fresh air. Now, over to Dow with a look at what's coming up tonight at 5.
Yeah, 5 medical schools all around the country are seeing a new and encouraging trend in the middle of this pandemic. The number of students applying to med school, that number is on the rise. We're going to have more on what's being called the Fauci effect. Plus, Missouri Governor Mike Parson is sworn in to another term as the 57th governor today. And construction has officially started on the new Jasper County Courts building. We're going to have a look at what's being done so far and why some residents might have a hard time finding a place to park for the next couple of years. Hope you join us for those stories. A lot more, of course. It's coming up on KOAM News at 5.
All right. Thank you, Dow. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at Noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.